Hello class, welcome to Notes 2.7, Rational Numbers in Decimal Form. Today's standards are NS 1.3 and NS 1.5. Don't forget to write these down. Our objective today is to write fractions as decimals and decimals as fractions. Our vocabulary, we have rational number, a number that can be written as a fraction. So decimals can be turned into fractions, so they are rational, or most of them. Terminating decimal is a decimal that has a final digit. It stops. And you can think of the Terminator when you think of that one. A repeating decimal is a decimal that has a digit or group of digits that repeat without end. That also can be turned into a fraction. So all of these numbers are rational. Okay, let's take a look at our first teacher example. Teacher example 1. Write the fraction as a decimal. We have 8 over 11. So what we want to do first is go ahead and remember that that fraction bar, where we say over, is the same thing as saying a division bar divided, so that we can also read that as 8 divided by 11. So we want to go ahead and do that division, and we end up with 0 and 7, 2, 7, 2, 7, 2, going on forever. As we know, that is a repeating decimal, so we draw a line over just the first numbers that repeat, which would be the 7 and then the 2. Don't forget, you do need the 0 in there. And the reason for the 0 is you can think of that as the bodyguard for the little decimal point. He's just a little guy, so he gets beaten up all the time, so he has to have bodyguards on both sides of him, which means if you're going to use a decimal, you need a number on either side of it. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at 9 over 25. And again, that can also be read as 9 divided by 25. So you're going to go ahead and do that division, and we end up with 0 and 36 hundredths. Notice nothing's repeating, so we don't have to draw any lines. Second one, we have a list of weights for bowling balls. We need to convert them to decimals. Notice we have whole numbers and fractions, so we've got a mixed number here. One option is to turn it into an improper fraction, divide, and then it'll be back into a mixed number. The other option is you know your whole number is already 12, so you can leave it as 12 and just find out what the decimal portion of the number is and combine them. So if I take a look here, 3 divided by 16 is right here. Then I need to take 12 and add it on to the front, and I've got my nice decimal with the whole number of 12. Okay, taking a look at another one here, 1 over 5. 1 divided by 5 is 2/10. So my decimal is 12 plus 2/10, 12 and 2/10. Next fraction, 2 11ths turns into 1800, so it is 12 and 1800ths. The only problem with this method is oftentimes you forget to bring the 12 along. So as long as you can remember the 12, you'll do just fine. What I like to do is write the 12 in my answer column right away, so I'm ready for it. 3 over 25, or 3/25, is going to turn into 12 hundredths, 12 and 12 hundredths. And 1/8 turns into 0 and 125 thousandths, which becomes 12 and 125,000. Take a look at student practice. We have 3 problems here for you. Go ahead and solve. Press play when you're ready to see the answers. Okay. Nice, simple, straightforward one here. 9 divided by 20. So you can write it out as 9 divided by 20 if it helps you to see it that way. And we end up with 45 hundredths. 5 and 7/8, we know my answer has to have a 5. So I need to find out what the 7/8 is going to be, which is, of course, 7 divided by 8, which is 0 and 875 thousandths. And then my final answer is 5 and 875 thousandths. Number 3, we know we're going to start with the 6 as our whole number. We need to find out what the decimal is going to be. So we will divide 4 divided by 5, and we get 8/10. So my final answer is 6 and 8/10. Teacher example 3, write the terminating decimal as a fraction or mixed number in simplest form. We have 8/10, and we know that how we read the number, that's the fraction we put it over. So 8/10, since that 8 is in the tenths place, we put it over 10. Remember, place the decimal in the numerator and the last place value in the denominator. Now I need to simplify that fraction. Dividing them both by 2, and I end up with 4/5. Problem B, I have my whole number, which I can go ahead and put up front. 225 thousandths. The last place value is thousand, so I put it over 1,000, and then I simplify. And I end up with -3 and 9/40. Student practice 3, go ahead and solve these problems. And press play when you're ready to see your answer. 9/10, you simply put 9 over 10. It cannot be simplified. 76 hundredths, but 76 over 100. It can be simplified. Dividing them both by 4. -1 and 15 hundredths. 15 over 100. Divide them both by 5, and you end up with -1 and 3/20. One thing to be careful of, make sure you don't forget your negative. -5 and 25 hundredths. We know that 25 and 100, think of quarters, can both be divided by 25. We end up with -5 and 1/4. Okay, you're ready for your quiz. So go ahead, copy down these 3 problems and solve. Watch out for your negatives, and make sure you simplify as much as possible when your answer is a fraction. Have a great day.